The convicted could be transported beyond the seas for life.
Oh my word. That's not even mud, that's a swimming pool. Okay. Now I'm looking for... Oh, I've got it! I've got it! I've got it! Hello and welcome to Cross and Combe, and I do believe that may well be the first time I've actually managed to say it because I keep forgetting to do that every time I make a video. My name is Jen, or Jenna, whichever you prefer, and today I have come to Dorset. Oh, surprise, surprise. I have actually been in Dorset for the last few of my videos, but don't worry, I will be leaving Dorset very soon. I'm not just going to stay here forever. But for today, we're still here. And we're going to go on a little bit of a road trip today, and I'm going to show you some of the places that I'm familiar with, some of the less well-known histories in this area, and we're going to be looking at punishment and plague, and we're also going to be looking at a prehistoric wonder that's only recently just been discovered, and I'm really excited about that because I haven't seen it yet. So let's go and check them out. Now, there are about 700 of these rather nice looking finger posts throughout Dorset, but only 4 of them are red, and no one seems to really know why that is. And there doesn't seem to be any concrete evidence as to why only 4 of them are red. There are, however, some theories.
In 1773, milestone markers became compulsory on all turnpike roads, leading to an increased signage system throughout the UK. The vast majority of Dorset's finger posts are painted white with black lettering. So why are only 4 red? Some believe that these finger posts now stand in places where gallows or gibbets once stood, the colour red symbolising the blood of those condemned to death left to hang as a warning. Others believe these red posts may be a link back to an old tradition of burying those who had committed suicide. They were often buried at crossroads, sometimes with a stake through their hearts. The most famous of the Dorset red posts, which is located near the Botany Bay pub on the busy A31, has perhaps sparked the most common theory, that these posts were used by those transporting prisoners to the local lockup before being carted off for transportation to Australia. That may well be true for that one post, but can the same be said for the others? And how many other red posts have we now lost, either removed or repainted white? One thing is certain, the punishment of transportation was once a very real sentence.
With that in mind, let's go and check out the next location, which is literally about a 2-minute walk in that direction. Let's go.
Over a pleasant stream, where Horsey Knap meets Benville Lane, a fairly unremarkable bridge displays a plaque which almost 200 years ago would have given passers-by a very stark warning.
So it reads, Dorset. Any person willfully injuring any part of this county bridge will be guilty of felony and upon conviction liable to be transported for life by the court, and it is signed T. Fuchs. So there we go.
In Dorset's Industrial Heritage by Peter Stainer, Peter writes that T. Fuchs was a clerk of the peace, and that this act was brought in 1828. According to Stainer, who quotes from the act, the convicted could be transported beyond the seas for life, or for any term not exceeding 4 years, and if a male, to be once, twice, or thrice publicly or privately whipped, if the court shall so think fit, in addition to such imprisonment. The transportation of convicts overseas started in the early 1600s and continued until 1868. They were taken to colonies, first to the Americas and the Caribbean, and then after the American Revolution, England started sending them to Australia. which would very likely have been the destination for anyone guilty of injuring this bridge. What seems incredibly sad to me is that even those convicts who served a short sentence overseas would often have never made it home, because they would not have been able to afford the journey back.
Right, I'm back at the car. It was actually proving really quite difficult to film that bridge. I think I've probably got enough footage, but every time I got the camera out, there would be a car, a motorcycle, or a tractor. So I think that'll probably do for now. I think you've learned enough about that bridge, and we are going to go to our next stop. Let's go.
Now, you may be thinking, wow, Jenna, you really have chosen some rather depressing subjects for this one. And yes, it's true, there is some darkness here, but it's not all doom and gloom. And this next one may well have a silver lining to it.
So I just want to show you guys this house. This is Mapperton House. And if any of you are familiar with the film adaptation of Far From the Madding Crowd, the more recent one, this is actually where they filmed part of the film. Right, I have arrived at the third location, and if you watched my second video, you will know that I mentioned another lane nearby when I was looking at Murderers Lane. And this is that lane. This is the beginning. Behind me is the beginning of Dead Man's Lane. And right just behind me there, this new tree has actually been planted to replace a very old tree that was once there called the Posy Tree. Let's find out a bit about that.
In 2011, an old, dead, pollarded tree was removed from this spot due to health and safety concerns. Reportedly a sycamore, it was known locally as the Posy Tree. It is said that mourners on their way back from burying their dead either passed by this tree with posies, or that they laid their posies at the base of the tree. And we'll find out a bit more about the circumstances of this shortly. It's thought by some that this posy tree wasn't actually the original, but was actually a replant from a previous tree. But posies have long been associated with the plague, as it was once believed that the carrying of bunches of flowers and herbs protected against the plague and also masked the foul smells of those dead and dying.
Right, let's go and check out Dead Man's Lane. Yep, I knew it was a good idea to wear my wellies. Look at this. Oh my word. That's not even mud, that's a swimming pool. Right, I hope it's not too deep. It's a good job I didn't wear my DMs. Oh my days, it's really big. Uh-oh. If I disappear, guys, you know where to find me, okay? Actually, no, you won't, because you won't get the footage. Look at this. It's nuts. There's more of it. Oh. Oh. Ah. I'm such a girl. Right. Yeah, definitely a good idea bringing the wellies. Definitely. Never mind Dead Man's Lane, it'll be Dead Woman's Lane in a minute if I fall over and drown. Right. I've actually been to Dead Woman's Lane. Oh my gosh, that's really deep. I can't get my foot out. No, we're fine. Oh my gosh, it's got me. This is really bad. Right, there we go. It's all good. Oh! Don't move too fast, Jen, otherwise you'll fall over. I actually got my foot stuck in the sand once at the beach a long time ago. I had to get somebody to dig me out. It was really bad. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I would do. Right, this one's a bit longer. Okay, I can report all is well. There are no casualties, nothing to see here. Everything is fine.
Very grateful that the mud monster of Dead Man's Lane had let me go and that I hadn't experienced a sudden puddle plunge like that of Geraldine from The Vicar of Dibley, my thoughts turned back to the task at hand. So, Dead Man's Lane. The story goes that during an outbreak of the plague, the small village of Mapperton was hit quite badly. For some reason, possibly due to rocky ground, the dead of Mapperton were usually buried in Netherbury, a neighbouring village, which was reached via this lane. However, when the villagers of Netherbury found out that Mapperton had the plague, they blocked access to their village, which meant that Mapperton had to find somewhere else to bury their loved ones. The location chosen for this common grave was on the side of South Warren Hill, between the villages of Mapperton and Netherbury. According to the Mapperton page on the Dorset Online Parish Clerk's website, it's thought that the most likely year for this outbreak of plague and for this account to have taken place would have been in 1582.
So they would have carted the dead along the top of this hill here. I'm going to cut across this way, but I'm guessing that they would have had to have gone that way because this would have been a nightmare. So look at this view. It's amazing. I love this view. Right, so I'm going to head this way. So I've just come up that way because it was quicker, right? But look, this is clearly a lane. You can see now that there's track marks on it. But obviously at the top there, they've been cutting stuff down. And then it carries on up here. So the coordinates, the grid reference that I've put into my OS map has shown that the location for the actual pit that was dug for the bodies is actually down there. I thought it might be that bunch of trees up there, but according to the grid reference, it's actually down there. Apparently they dug it in the side of the hill, which would make sense. So yeah, so apparently occasionally human bones are still dug up by animals that are burrowing. But I'm not gonna lie, I think if I had to pick somewhere for my family to be buried, it's not a bad place really, is it? It's a very sad thing to think about, but it's a nice place to come, to be laid to rest.
On a beautiful day like today, it's difficult to imagine the horror and heartbreak that the plague would have brought to this small community. But once the plague had passed and time had brought a little distance from the pain, I like to think that the sunshine and beautiful views from this spot would bring some comfort to those in mourning. When I finally managed to pull myself away from that special place, it was later in the day than I had planned, so I decided to head out the following day to find the last, but by no means least, of the locations I had planned to visit, and I was very excited about this one.
Right, now I think the stone that I am looking for is over by this tree. That tree looks familiar. I think it's over here. Let's have a look. Okay. Now I'm looking for... Oh, I've got it! Yes! I think that's it. Yes, that's it. This is it. Oh man, that's awesome. It doesn't look like much, but this is really smooth. If you touch that, it's really rough. That is super smooth. And the reason it is super smooth is because a very, very long time ago, our ancestors sat there and they sharpened their axes and their stone tools. We are talking about 5,000 years ago. And this is super exciting and very, 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 very cool. And it's just such a simple little thing, but I mean, that's so smooth. That is so cool. I mean, you can just imagine, he probably would have sat there, or maybe with his legs over it, I don't know, but just sharpening his tools. Maybe the women did it too, I don't know. Oh, that's so cool.
This is a polissoir, a polishing stone, and this particular one was discovered only in 2023. Polishing stones are pretty rare in England, and most of those that we do know about so far are portable, with only a few being set in place like this one. Most of these stationary or earth-fast stones are found around the Avebury area, but even these have been shown to have been moved by varying degrees. Only this one, from what I can tell, is thought to have never moved at all. So where it sits now is exactly where our ancestors would have used it to work their hand axes.
I'm actually finding myself quite moved, to be honest, to think that thousands of years ago, somebody used to sit there and sharpen their tools, sharpen their axes, and how many people did it, and for how long. But it was obviously done on a regular basis, because that is very, very smooth. It's really quite moving. It's really moving. I mean, it's so quiet here. I don't know what it would have been like years ago. I know that they've done excavations and I think they have found things here. I haven't looked into it too much, so I'm not really sure whether there was a settlement really close by. But I'm guessing there must have been. You know, they wouldn't have wanted to travel too far, I wouldn't have thought. But this whole area is littered in all kinds of ancient burial mounds and stone circles and stuff like that. So yeah, it's had a lot of activity, definitely. But that is so special. Really special. And I'm really, really pleased that I came to see it. So yes, I will put the coordinates or the grid reference in the description below so you guys can come and see it as well. It was really easy to find. I actually got it off of Megalithic portal and it literally just led me straight to it. I had a look at some photos too. So remember that tree behind me right there, and this other stone that kind of has the kind of grooves in it, and you will find it. It's very easy to find. Wow, that is it from me for now. And I'm going to just sit here for a bit longer, I think, and just take it all in. But if you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment, say hi, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!